What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew with a special bonus stream of the Paul James Show. It's just me. It's just a bonus live stream. Post-game live, we'll call it, after my basketball grand final tonight. No, unfortunately, I didn't get the win. As unfortunately I'd kind of predicted, your scores here went down to the tune of 13 points. It was two Gisborne teams going head-to-head in the grand final. Unfortunately, my Gisborne team was on the receiving end of a loss there. Bit disappointing, but we were the rank underdogs for this one. I was hoping for a basketball thumbnail as well. Ben, I was hoping Ben would put a bit more effort into it, but like he initially sent me a mock-up of the thumbnail that we saw a moment ago. I said, no, it needs to be a bit more basketball-y. So he stuck a basketball on the end of my finger, and that was it. So Bulldogs NC, there's your scoreline. Yours truly, top scorer for his team. But unfortunately, I was on the wrong end of the ledger in this one. So it is what it is. North Carolina, no, it's just NC, just short for the captain of the team. So Nick in this particular case, and I guess for the other mob, Lachlan Morgan Smith would be the captain for the other one. I like a bit of basketball, though. Basketball's good. Basketball's really good. So, yeah, unfortunately on the wrong end of the ledger here, but it is another opportunity after. And for anyone who's maybe tuning in going, why is Paul having a bonus stream tonight? It's because everyone went insane the other night. Absolutely insane during the Paul James show. And there was something like $225 or something that was... Thanks, Shadu. They actually, by their own admission, they're like, we got put in a division too low and it was too late for us to get out. So they just won their way through, and we played them 3 times this season. The 2 home and away ones, regular season games, we lost by 15 points. So it was an improvement. We were clearly the second best team in the comp too. So there was a big gap between us, them, and then the rest of the comp. But we're on the wrong end of it. It is what it is. But yes, as I was saying, ridiculous donations via Super Chats that I'm sure you won't repeat again tonight. But absurd number of and quantity of Super Chats the other night has then led to a secondary stream just because I feel like I owe you all. And I made a promise that I'd give an extra 20 minutes initially. And then when we blew past that initial goal and we eclipsed $200 worth of donations, like, okay, we've got to do another stream here. So this is not like a normal structured Paul James show. We're just going to chat about whatever. Roaming loved the stream the other night. He says it should be 2. He's suggesting an extra stream per $100. Look, that might be a model we need to go with in the future. So what, I guess, since we can just kind of chat about anything, certainly now I know, as many of you are aware, outside of all of the AFL stuff, I do a lot of video game work in the off season, just have a whole bunch of game streams, but then we can kind of pull people in a bit like post game live. And we can just chat while I'm playing a game and we're talking about whatever football stuff, men's, women's, off-topic stuff. We can just kind of go for it. I really want to keep the dialogue going over the break. And the games thing allows us to engage some other people, bring some new people in, potentially open some eyes to the AFL world along the way, and also just have fun with the community. So much like what we did on Monday, which was just a wild show. Roaming says it feels wrong to be streaming tonight. It also feels wrong to be starting a stream for me outside of post-game live. It feels wrong to be streaming at this time of night as well. But anyway, let's get onto Shane Warne Cricket 99 is an absolute classic. Hang on. Now that you've said that, give me one moment. Where's my phone? I'll be back. JL. You say thoughts on Shane Warne Cricket 99. just last year I went and chased down a physical copy of it because it's GOAT tier. Chair stream, Jackie says. Well, I'm already back. But yeah, Shane Warne Cricket 99, legendary stuff. But let's before we really hone in on like completely off-topic stuff like video games, etc. Let's talk about some of the news of the day. As Jackie's highlighted, Mitch Never signed on for another year. Great news. But another one here is that Rowan Marshall's met with the Cats again, so that's twice. Wonder if the Saints will let him go. I would say that they're going to be in a position where they might have to, not because it's going to be really ugly like the Zach Merritt situation. I mean, maybe it gets ugly, but not necessarily because that was 4 from the moment it left the bat. Not because necessarily it'll be like a really disgruntled Rowan Marshall involved in it, but just simply because the Saints are bringing so much in. They've obviously signed Nasai for $2 million a year. Tom DeKoning's coming in for 1.7. You're looking to bring Jack Silvani for about 900 a year. You've then got Liam Ryan coming in. You've got Leek Aleer coming in. Like, you cannot bring in so many players and outlay so much cash without having to give up something in returns. So I would expect that Rowan Marshall will go because they can't, like, there's an opportunity to free up the bank balance just a little bit, the salary cap just a smidge. And so they'll take it. As much as they may not want to, I think it'll be a reality of the situation. So, yeah, I think, will they let him go? Yeah, I think they'll kind of have to in the end. And I don't think it'll be a really ugly breakup, but it'll just be a necessary one. And to that, Flash says an experienced ruckman is a must. Horatio says it's pretty much a done deal. Shadu says pretty sure you had that back in the day in reference to Shane Warne Cricket 99. Oh yeah, sorry, that's another part. Yeah, they might have to pay Wilkie more because he's exploring his options as well. So, Roaming says currently watching the full sweat Hawthorn preseason, so I know how they're going to play. I'm doing more research than Blitz. Good luck, Roaming. Share your thoughts on what your takeaways are. But I think Hawthorn's game's a pretty known thing now based on what we've seen all season. And while I'm sure Sam Mitchell will have a little curveball in mind, I'm really pleased to see that more and more of the media, I heard Joey Montagna, for example, today, suggesting that maybe Tom Atkins needs to go to Jai Newcomb. Said it first, everyone. But yeah, like we're getting right on board all this. So I don't know. I'm sure he'll have a trick up his sleeve, but I just don't know that Hawthorn's got enough to work with to really flip the magnets around in such a way that's going to disrupt the Cats significantly. Where are we? Shadu says, do you cheer Warple at the prelim? Absolutely not. Understood that, it seems like, in fact, I think I saw something today. It's basically like it's all but certain that he's going to go to the Cats. And that's fantastic news. But in this case, this is not like Paddy Dangerfield 2015. The season's already gone for Adelaide and the Cats, and they're just playing this one out. And so we can kind of lean into the theatrics and the fun of it a bit. No, this game is about as high stakes as it can possibly get. No cheering. In fact, even more hostility, just to be sure. And Flash, you've just touched on the other story that I was going to bring up, which I will project on screen now, actually. So that we can kind of lean into that particular conversation all around Geelong being Charlie Curnow's preference. So we'll talk about that as well. Amy says, when Wilkie sees a league get the same money as him after only 23 games, I can see why Wilkie might be a bit annoyed. It's a pretty decent sort of rationale. Pressure washing needed to get rid of poos and wheeze. We could play a good pressure washing game down the line once we get to postseason as well. It took me 18 months to cheer Izzy. That'd have been great, like grand final day, right? Shadu says, and this is in reference to the Charlie Curnow news, that you don't think Geelong's preference is Curnow, though. Fairly reasonable rationale. So let's quickly talk about this. So Charlie Curnow's preference is Geelong of the 3 clubs circling the Blue Star, according to the AFL journalist Damien Barrett. Curnow is seeking a move away from Icon Park in next month's trade period as the Cats, Swans and Suns all explore ways to acquire the contracted dual Coleman medalist. Sydney has been seen as the front runner for Curnow, who's believed to be keen to get out of the Melbourne bubble. But Barrett actually has the Swans third in the pecking order. In Charlie Curnow's ideal world, it's Geelong, Gold Coast, then Sydney, Barrett said on Triple M. That was the midday rub that I was talking about before. I expect those three clubs to somehow get involved. Of those clubs, however, Geelong has the worst draft hand and thus would make a deal harder to pull off. I don't know how Geelong does it. Of the three, it's going to be the hardest to get done, but that's where he wants to be first, Barrett added. And look, it is going to be a really complicated situation. Because, Geelong doesn't have a huge amount that they can offer, let alone the fact that to chase Rowan Marshall, you're probably going to have to give away, we've discussed this in the dedicated video, you're going to have to give away potentially a first-round pick there as well. So, you're in the hopes that maybe you get something back. But I think if you're going to go get Charlie Curnow whilst also getting Rowan Marshall in the door, I think we're going to have to pay up pretty big with a player, which doesn't excite me too much. And makes it all the more interesting that, Mitch Nevitt has signed on today. So we're starting to think about who's left and you go, okay, I don't like saying it, but George Stevens is unsigned. You've got Ted Closey that's unsigned. You've got these blokes who are kind of out of contract right now that are potential options. I don't like them as options. Please, before anyone goes ballistic, I don't like them as options. But if the Cats end up being keen to Jackie's point, I think it was Jackie's point. I've just lost my comments now. Where'd it go? Shadoo's point, sorry. To Shadoo's point, like maybe he doesn't want, maybe Geelong doesn't want him, but assuming for the sake of the argument that both club and Charlie are on board with this, and honestly, and I'm going to make sure I'm really clear, it's suspicious that nothing's been said yet. With two of those three clubs now out of the race, like out of the finals race, and one left on the table. Just saying. I reckon the nomination's going to come the second Geelong's finals campaign is over, whether that is this week or next. Hopefully, it's not until after the grand final. But yeah, it's just something to kind of keep in mind. We know how this usually works. As soon as the club, the desired club, is no longer a contender, then all of a sudden that high profile recruit that's been linked to him goes, "Yep, I'd like to join him." And that's what happened with the Jeremy Cameron one I think came out in the end before. I think it came out like grand final week, didn't it, or prelim final week or something like that. But most of the time, this is something that kind of bubbles to the surface after the team has been eliminated from finals. So I'm just going to put that little bit of speculation in there. But there is something to be said. I don't really want Charlie, roaming says. Gary's suggesting offering Mitch Nevitt in a first round pick. Go Time AFL says, bring back Dean Gore as trade bait. That's a deep cut. That's a nice little reference there. Flash says, I'd give up two or three of Clark, Nevitt, Stevens, and Wiltshire plus a first. I mean, my question is, where do we get the first from? Oh, Amy, so do I. The difference that would have made just one year earlier. Anyway, it is what it is. So yeah, look, there's something to that. My question is, where do we get the first? If the first has got to go into a deal for Marshall, and honestly, I would, as much as Curnow is if we just separate, like for likes and that sort of thing, we just talk about importance of the player. I think getting Rowan Marshall into the club is more important than getting Charlie Curnow in the club right now because of the position he plays. Charlie is the better player, but Rowan Marshall is more important to the Cats right now. If we've got to give up the first there, then I don't know how we get ourselves another one. And Shadoo offers the three-way club trade idea, or a four-way, or whatever it ends up being. It's just a whole orgy of football clubs coming together to sort this one out. Gary asked what happened to Ollie Lord coming home. I've not heard anything, and I think one of the signs that he's possibly not going to be going anywhere, that Port Adelaide really wants to commit to keeping him, is that we've seen Charlie retire in recent years. They've now delisted old mate that came from Finlayson, Jeremy Finlayson. So they're not loaded with top tier, ultra experienced forwards now. They've got what's his name from Gold Coast. Sorry, like I'm a bit frazzled from this basketball game. He's kicked bags against us. He kicked a bag against us when we played against the Gold Coast at the Northern Territory last year. He was like a second pick in the draft years ago. Key forward. Can't get his body right. No, it wasn't King. Blonde hair. They traded him to Port Adelaide. Double checking the name because it's right there, and I just can't. Jack Lukosius. And there, Brendan's just come up with Jack. There you go. Jack Lukosius, who I'm talking about. Like they've brought in Lukosius, but then you're relying on your Todd Marshalls, who's like he'd be a great third tall option. He's quite tall, but he'd be a good third tall option, I would imagine. You've got Georgiades, obviously, who's amazing. You're right, Brendan. It's not how it's spelled, but don't stress. Complicated name. So I think Ollie Lord is absolutely a big part of the plans. His figures. Is this even right? Because they don't disclose weights anymore. This could be an old figure. It says 195 and 84 kilos. I feel like he's definitely heavier than that these days. But I think that there's a little bit more to it. But you're right. Like there's a three-way trade option here. And all of your football teams, as I alluded, we get multiple together to try and make this one work, and it'd be really interesting if it does. Obviously, I don't, and Lucas keeps going down the path of let's offload a big Pizza Neal for a transaction here. Firstly, we obviously heard recently in an interview, like in a press conference from Big Scratch, that he's had it promised to him that he's not going to be involved in anything. But now, when you start hearing rumblings of what's going on with Charlie Curnow here and the talk that Geelong is his preference, and then you pair that up with Andrew Mackey's comments, where there's smokes, people. And yes, I know I'm aware of what I said. Yeah, where there's smokes. Is Toby Conway tradable? I think he might be. I mean, he is, but I don't know if the club will want to get rid of him. I think. Obviously, his body's continued to fail him, but I think there's a lot of belief within the four walls of the Cats that I think there's a lot of belief that he's the next big thing for us, and we just got to bide our time and get through whatever physical developmental challenges we're kind of facing at the moment, so that he can then thrive, in his 24, 25 and on sort of period. But we ride if Neal's traded. Shannon's going nowhere. I 100% agree with all of you. Like I don't want him to go anywhere, and I don't think he's going to go anywhere. And I think the comments from Andrew Mackey were really, really on the nose. And again, I think he said that because stories like this were going to start to bubble up, and so he gave Shannon Neal that peace of mind. And I think, firstly, it's fantastic leadership by Andrew Mackey and others, just to go, mate, you're going to hear things. People are going to speculate things. We are chasing this guy, but you are not on the table. Like I think that's great. That's a lot of class. But Gary suggests Ollie Henry may be an option. I mean, he's not been lighting it up, and he would have credit. He would be worth investing in, honestly. It'd be kind of low-key funny that he wanted to come to the Cats to get close to his family, and the Collingwood supporters lost their minds over him making a 45-minute trip up the freeway, only to then get sent back up the freeway again to go play for Carlton. I would see like some real humour in that. But anyway. Scratch is a 600 goal kicker. Geelong aren't that dumb to trade him away. No, they're not. I agree. Oh, no. Shannon Neal was promoting another pizza place during the week. That's disgusting. He's dead to us. Trade him to Carlton. I'm kidding. Brendan says, I see so much Greg Oden in Toby Conway. Oh, sweet. He's got another 2 years. Hope he gets a game. Oh, that's in relation to Mitch Edwards, who's being discussed yet. So that's kind of the story there with Charlie Curnow as things currently stand. Obviously, plenty more to come of it. I have no doubt about it. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. So we've hit on all the news stories that I kind of had up my sleeve to discuss for this one. We're 20 minutes in, and I promised everyone an hour. So we've got another 40 minutes to Thomas, get. I don't know if you're our usual Thomas, so I won't be as hostile. Thomas M, get fucked. No, I'm kidding. But we can't offload Jed Buse. Firstly, I don't. No, he's wonderful. He's fantastic. But I also don't think I don't think, honestly, in terms of a transaction, I just don't think that Carlton's going to want a player who's got 1, maybe 2 years left in his career at the most. So that's kind of. But Go Time agrees. Jed Buse is a legend. I'm assuming if that's in response to my scathing comment from a moment ago. I'm joking around, mate. But I don't see him. I don't see him being a worthy investment for Carlton. He's the sort of player that, given what's going on at Essendon, for example, given what's going on at Essendon, you could see him, do a Paul Chapman or a Josh Hunt or one of those sorts of, right near the end of their career, potentially going to a club who needs a bit of developmental, like a bit of assistance. And obviously, yeah, you've just referenced the Rat heading over to Brisbane late in his career. And look, there's a distinct possibility that Jed could find himself doing the same thing. Taking his cafe that he's got in Geelong these days, taking that down the highway. Geez, I wish I'd changed into some pants first. I'm wearing my basketball shorts still. I'm just starting to get a little bit cold now. Shadu asks, will I be joining Dan Does Footy for a live watch along for the Pies and Lions game? Not I. Jed is the GOAT. I do enjoy Dan Does Footy, but I've got so much. For those in the know, for those in the gaming realm, I've got Ghost of Yotei to play, and I need to play that game. Like, I've got. When do I have? I'm embargoed till next Friday. I need to invest some hours, real quick. No comment about the quality of the game, though. Flash suggests, what about trading Kolajasny to the Blues as a replacement for Jack Silvani? Could help in the Curnow deal. Now, that don't love the idea of Kola being on the trade table, but that would be more appealing to Carlton, I suspect, especially in lieu of losing Jack Silvani. But, I think the big trick there is that he's, come off a very compromised year with injuries and those sort of things. And does that hurt his chances? Gary says Collar will go home to Tassie. Problem is that the Tassie thing is in all sorts of trouble. The stadium proposal was rejected today. That's in a really problematic spot right now. Basically the panel or whatever they've compiled over there, the Planning Commission released its final report. In fact, I'll project the news. So bear with me for 1 second here. But this team is in a lot of trouble. Tasmania's proposed AFL stadium shouldn't be built according to a damning planning report that says the monolithic project is too big for the site and not worth the cost. The State's Planning Commission on Wednesday released the final report into the $945 million Macquarie Point venue, a condition for Tasmania's entry in 2028. The report's recommendation is not binding, but could sway a parliamentary vote on whether to give the stadium the green light. The stadium could cause irrevocable and unacceptable adverse impacts on Hobart's spatial and landscape character, urban form, and historic cultural heritage, the report said. It offers almost no scope for the site to become a vibrant, active place that is attractive to visit outside of major event mode, it added. In very simple terms, the stadium is too big for the site, and the benefits it will bring are significantly outweighed by the disbenefits it creates. Is disbenefits a word? Anyway, the panel recommended that the project should not proceed. And of course, this, funnily enough, comes after the Nathan Buckley was all chips in to be the coach of Tasmania, and there may not be a team now. So, yeah, Colo may not have a Tasmanian team to go to. Now, what have we got here? Sorry, Thomas, I'm not sure. Get rid of Jake. Get rid of, sorry, the typo. Get rid of Jake, as in College Asney. Xbox 15 Gaming says, I'm nervous for Friday night. You and me both, mate. We are absolutely the better team going into this game. But we know what a Geelong and Hawthorn matchup looks like at the best of times, let alone adding the theatrics of a prelim final. I am absolutely shitting bricks. And considering you've got a Minecraft thing, let's call them like Minecraft, like bricks. Nathan Buckley should have taken the Melbourne job. Should have. We don't want Tasmania. It's a waste of money. Stadium wasn't rejected by Parliament yet. Could still pass. Yeah, but certainly this gives there's still a lot of concern within the parliamentary ranks from all reports. So when you get a report like this that then says, really, this is a bad idea, and this article doesn't even talk about the financials. Hang on, it's estimated the government would need to accumulate $1 billion in debt for the construction costs, rising to $1.8 billion over 10 years, and that's because of compound interest over the time. So, it's pretty bleak. How is Tassie a waste of money? It's not. I don't think it's so. Yeah. Thomas's comment I don't wholly agree with, but I think they really need to look at the hows they're going to get this in place. It's a prelim Xbox. You should have some nerves. Absolutely. I had a knot in my stomach going into my grand final that I lost tonight. We were the underdog and we went on to lose. Hopefully the same occurs to Hawthorn on Friday night. They can be the underdog and going to lose. What is Tassie going to add to the league? Nothing. Will Roos and Hawks still play there? Don't know about what's going to happen with the Roos and the Hawks when or if Tassie emerges. But no, I think we want to be they want to be a national competition. So that's at its core why this expansion's going on. And Tassie's contributed so much to the game that I think they deserve one, but they've got to be smarter about the way that they're trying to build this one up. And is the AFL pushing too hard for the roof? Is that going to be one of the big deal breakers here? What else have we got here? Tassie don't need a new stadium. They should play 6 home games in Hobart and Launceston. Helps both cities in Tassie. There's merit to that. Did you get in trouble on Monday night? No, I didn't. Especially when I walked in and said, there was $225 worth of super chats. Now, will my wife be happy that if I walk in tonight and I go, there was no dollars in super chats? Yeah, maybe. She's out for dinner at the moment, and I don't actually know if she's back yet. My father-in-law looked after the kids while my wife's out to dinner with some friends, and while I was playing my basketball grand final, came home, sent him packing. He's gone home now, and Russia, thank you. This benefits is not a word. We've got a bunch of morons working in this system. I don't know if she'll be as stoked if I walk in and go, yeah, sorry, we didn't earn a cent from this one. But it is what it is. Where are we? Rockcliffe said he would force it through. Yeah, but isn't he firstly the head of minority government? I think. Tom's got a ticket, top row. Good one. Shadu says, thank you. As always, like and subscribe, join the Discord. Please make sure to do that. Great community in there. Go Time AFL says, this week has gone slowly. Is it just me? No, I'm feeling that a little bit myself. For me, I think it's like the final week of term blues as a teacher. I'm running out of tickets. I streamed on Monday. Suddenly I'm streaming again Wednesday. The Paul James show is tomorrow. Remember, for everyone, Ben is hosting the Paul James show tomorrow night because I am on parent-teacher interviews tomorrow night. It has been a very slow week. I don't think it's just you. But I think a lot of that's probably nerves too for a lot of us. Amy says, think they need the support of 3 independents who are currently against it. Good luck. Slowest week ever, says Jackie. Should win by 138 points. Very easy game. Oh, you've gone and done it there. Are you an undercover Hawthorn supporter? Aaron says, could build without a roof and save 250 to 300K. I would imagine you're going to save a bit more than 250 to 300K. But, yeah. Roaming's right. Thomas, stop being so cocky. Go Tom says, we'll be happy if we win by a goal. I'll just be happy if we win. Dogs and Kangas should share GMHBA. Oh, that's a controversial take, Gary. Expound. Flash says, woman in fine dining restaurant, man in the shed. We'll call this the doghouse. Kids sleeping in their house unsupervised right now. Hopefully they're fine. No, they always know at this point if not that we've ever come to it yet, but if they ever walk through the house and they know that and they find no one, they know that I'm in the shed. So Jackie says roaming is going to be so upset with no Paul tomorrow. I know. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? Shio says, I've got an interesting stat for Geelong versus Hawthorn finals. Please fire away. 250k buys a garden shed in this current climate. Thomas says, who is Ben? Sounds like a dumbass. He is. The Paul fan club. We've had another one to the Paul fan club. Thomas, and to go along with roaming. Morty pops in, I think, for the first time tonight, saying standing tickets was all we could get, but can't wait for Friday. Go Cats. Horatio says, apart from the 2008 grand final, the higher place side has won. I like that. Shadu says, why does roaming hate Ben? I don't know. I don't really know. Flash says, no, thank you, Horatio. Oh, but that's in response to the trivia. We've already got it. Oka says, Dogs play Ballarat, Kangas play in Tassie. No, they don't need to go to GMHBA. Leave our stadium alone. Go Time says, the Doggies were offered to have their home games in Geelong around 13 years ago. Obviously, the financials of the club's a bit different now. For both clubs, I guess, very different right now. But we're doing better now. Roaming, troll of tomorrow night's show. Night off, had tonight's stream, friendly banter. I like when roaming's throwing a bit of shit at Ben. Ben needs a reality check sometimes. He thinks he's top shit because he's the one that came up with the Hoops crew in the first place, and then roped me in, and then roped the chaps in. But the real talent is me and the chaps. Jackie says that she likes roaming's trolling. So do I. It's good fun. All right. I know this is not a normal scheduled stream, but we're about halfway through it. Like I said, we're going to keep it to an hour. That's kind of what I promised with the additional stream here. And it is much later, and I do have parent interviews tomorrow, and my kids are asleep in the house on their own right now. So let's take a word from our sponsor before we go any further. Cyril Cook Florist. Make sure to drop those emojis, please, in the chat, and I'll see you in 30 seconds.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook Florist. Visit them at shop 1211 Leather Street in Breakwater. Phone them on 035 222 2244 or visit their website at www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au and use the offer code GOCATS in the voucher field at checkout to get 20% off your next online purchase.
Thank you, Cyril Cook Florist, as always, for your ongoing support of the Hoops Crew and all we get up to. Now, let's get going. Brendan says, at what point does everyone start throwing money at Paul again? If you wanted to throw money at me again, please, by all means, I will not say no. But I'm not going to, I don't know. I might have to try and keep my composure or I don't know. I cannot work out what was going on through my head. I think I was very overwhelmed by the money that was pouring in. And again, thank you to everyone for that. It was very, very generous. And honestly, me giving you 1 extra hour of me talking on stream, I don't think is all repays the debt. But thank you again to everyone who donated via Super Chats the other night. It was really humbling. It was also a good bit of fun. And Ben hasn't forwarded me a cent yet. Let's not lose sight of that. But flower emojis. Drop them, everyone. Gary also says, rightly, a few more thumbs up wouldn't go astray, especially when we're having an off-night stream like this. Please make sure to drop a like on this video. It does help with the algorithms. Thomas says, make your own website where we can tip you. Just to me. I'll go rogue. What I will say, if people... I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna plug. Hang on, 1 sec. If people are looking for a way to contribute to things that I do, and you like video games, maybe specifically you like the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, consider checking out this On the Go, the complete unofficial history of the PlayStation Portable. This is something that like buy me a coffee or Ko-fi and those sorts of things. Yeah, that's a pretty good platform for these sort of things. But no, for the most part, like Ben is going to forward me the money from the ludicrous behavior that happened the other night. He just needed to wait for YouTube to take its cut first so that we could actually see what was left. If you want to support, this is a book that I've contributed to. We were looking for 24,000 in Aussie dollars it was in Pommy pounds first. We've now raised $75,000 for that one, which will mostly go to printing and publication and distribution of 607 plus or more books that we've already sold so far. But it's something I'm very proud of.
Thank you for visiting the page for my
work, as well as a larger team have worked really, really hard on this one. And I've got my own project that will be published by the Too Old for Gaming team, going live probably early next year. I'll probably be able to announce it before the year is out, but it's going to go live next year. And that's my own project. But here's a whole bunch of other things that we've done over the years. In the meantime, YouTube's cut, probably Ben's cut. Yeah, he'll take a cut. He's dodgy. Aaron says the first thing he does when he joins the chat is drops a like. Thank you again, everyone. Thomas, I assume, is in reference to Ben waiting for it. No, I've got access to the YouTube backend, so I can see when the money comes in, or when it's been filtered by YouTube. What I will say, something I learnt off the back of all this, because I was like, how much does YouTube take away from this? So YouTube takes away 30%. But if you're watching on your phone, specifically Apple, if you're watching on an Apple device and using the YouTube app, this is wild to me actually. But actually, I should have really dawned on it, because my knowledge of all things video games actually means I know of some other stories similar. Apple takes a 30% cut from any super chat that is made via the YouTube app. If you were using like the browser, like Safari or Google Chrome or whatever on your phone, no such problem. But the YouTube app, Apple will take 30% cut from that, plus YouTube taking their chunk. It's wild, apparently. I was really stunned by the whole thing. But all right, let's talk about some of the questions that popped up in the last little while. That is a scam. But actually, so for a bit of context here, so the reason why I know this, and the reason why this has become actually a much bigger deal in recent years, and there was a whole big court case in the US. This was between Epic, the team who was responsible for Fortnite, and like the team who makes Fortnite, and then Apple, because Epic tried to set up a monetization system that occurred exclusively through the game that would kind of circumvent, like you could buy your V-Bucks or whatever the fucking currency is in Fortnite. You could buy it through the game, directly through the store, that didn't connect to Apple in any way, to circumvent the 30% cut that Apple would take. And that ended up being a whole thing, which then like Apple won some components of the case and Epic won some other components of the case, and Fortnite is there back, like, because Fortnite disappeared off the App Store for a while there. It was a whole thing. And then, I just didn't even think about it until all of those ridiculous numbers of dollars came in the other night. And it dawned on me that, hang on, anyone who donates via the YouTube app is probably facing the same issue that, but YouTube, there's a level of competition that goes on between Epic and Apple. There's not the same sort of competition between YouTube and Apple in this case. So I don't think it's really amounted to anything. And I think YouTube has just knuckled under and accepted it is what it is, because the YouTube app is so synonymous on all types of phones and devices. So you just kind of have to accept you're going to get huge amounts of money anyway. Epic didn't accept that. And they went to war. And they won parts of the war and lost other parts. In the great words of Ralph Wiggum, what's a battle? Anyway, let's continue on here and talk about some of your questions. So, would you guys put Sully on Gunston again this time? No. Sorry, I was staring at the clouds looking for some sort of godly over the head to give me an answer. And the answer is no. No, I'm going to put Jack Henry on Jack Gunston. I'm going to have Sam de Koning on Mitch Lewis. And I'm going to have, or actually, Sam de Koning or Mark O'Connor. Sorry, not Mark O'Connor. Connor O'Sullivan. Connor O'Sullivan or Sam de Koning on Mitch Lewis. And then the others on maybe Orchol. But as we discussed in the stream the other night, when Lloyd Meek floats into the forward 50, as he will, as a big tall ruckman, And like, I think the big problem there is that Mark Blitzarves doesn't have the height to contest. And I think so Mark Blitzarves, there'll be some sort of swap that'll go on. Mark Blitzarves will then take one of those other two key forwards, whichever one Sam De Koning is on, so that Sam De Koning can go to Lloyd Meek and just have that reach to go with him. He's not going to be like Lloyd Meek's not going to be leading up for the ball and marking it. He is very much going to be trying to stand there in the pack and try and pluck it. And so I'd much rather have Sam De Koning there trying to get the spoil in than someone like Mark Blitzarves, who's fantastic, so good in so many ways, but won't have the reach to contest in that particular component. That's my take on how the forward line mix works. Morty says he just dropped a like. Good night and go Cats. You've got this. Osheen to Newcomb, I think. I'm going to continue to stand by my thinking that it is going to be Tommy Atkins, the axe, that will go to Newcomb. Flash says, Paul, will we go in with an unchanged lineup? Any changes if you see? Maybe to the sub. Like maybe Jai Clark comes out and that's your chance for like an Ollie Henry or a Jed Buse, or if Reece Stanley returns, then maybe there's some pieces that come into place there. Put Jai in La La Land by punching him. Mate, we have to play a grand final next week. Even if we win, we've got to just be... And Aaron suggests Zach Guthrie to Gunston is a pretty good one. Need to keep Jack deep in the last line. There's merit to that. According to Danger, Reece ran 10Ks last week and is doing better than he thought, which is awesome. Gary says, got to go. Hoopers, catch you next time. Always good to see you, Gary. Thank you for coming on board once again. Shadu says, axe on Warple, Dempsey to Weddle. That'll be dangerous. Because Weddle could well do to Ollie Dempsey what Ollie Dempsey has done to everyone else all year. So Ollie's really going to need to be on his game. Mitch Nevitt as the bigger bodied sub, there'd be some merit there. Roaming says, he's giving me some specific scores. I like this. He's got Cats winning by 38 points, 124 to the Cats, 86 to the Hawks. I mean, I would be feeling good if that's the margin, because it probably means that the game is out of reach from fairly early on and we can just breathe a bit. Gunston kicked 3-1 last time we played them. Yeah. Look, I don't see Gunston kicking 5 or 6 like he did the other day, or like he has done at different. I'm starting to get like goosebumps on my legs now. Starting to get a little bit chilly in here, but I don't see him kicking a big bag. 3 is a good haul for a final in this current, like in the current day football. But I'm hopeful that he scores less than that this time. Hopefully that hamstring that's a little bit tender that, caused a bit of a scare in the last game is causing him an even bigger scare in this one. If he twangs his hamstring halfway through the first quarter, I will not complain. Same with Jack Ginnivan. As I'm sure most people around the country will not complain if Jack Ginnivan does a hamstring. He's growing on me though. He's been really entertaining. Some of the verbal bullshit has kind of gone away. Some of the things he said that's got himself in trouble. I'm warming up to Jack Ginnivan. The only downside is that he plays for the Hawks now, who I hate even more than I hate Collingwood. So when he did the Telstra guy walk, as stupid as it is, like, yeah, okay, that's endearing, right? And so Shadu, sorry, I know we're kind of butting heads on this particular topic. When Guns kicks 3+, they win the majority of their games. Absolutely. They didn't when they played against us. Horatio says, we aren't going to let him do as he pleases like the Crows did last week. Agreed. Go Time says, think he had 5 marks in the first quarter last time. That's in reference to Gunston. Yeah, I don't think that'll happen either. Ben says, and I'm not sure which Ben this is. It's not Ben Reeve, but this is our best chance to finally knock the Hawks out of a final. We are much better than them. I agree. Jackie says, I like Innie probably because I liked him at the Pies. I really had the shits with him at the Pies. I think I nuffed him once or twice for some of his behaviour, but anyway, this is what it is. I missed this earlier today. The Crows have delisted another 2 players beyond the ones from the other day. So who else is gone? 2 more Crows exit after straight set mystery as Tex mystery lingers. Harry Schoenberg was not offered a new contract, and Kieran Strachan was axed after being placed on the inactive list due to injury in February. Schoenberg, 62 games, only featured in 5 times over the last 2 seasons. Strachan, backup ruckman, having joined the club as a number 7 pick in the 2018 rookie draft. He's gone too. So more culling at the Crows. All right, what else have we got here? We don't like Telstra from the troll. Oh, yeah. But I like that Telstra ad with his big gangly arms and shit. Aaron says Hawthorn have struggled through the year with the ground ball. Cats won't be bombing it in forward 50. And Shadu wants the Pies to beat the Lions because I assume, like me, you are of the belief that the Pies might be an easier team to beat in the grand final. Not an easy team to beat, but an easier team to beat. What else have we got here? I'm just scrolling through Twitter to see if anything has popped at all that's worth discussing. Yeah, just to continue on with our Royal Marshall conversation. Kel Toomey saying today on Gettable, he wants to go to Geelong. He actively wants it. He's just not investigating it now. He wants to go to Geelong, which is fantastic. So I mean, this off season, we could, and I know that, we're not even through the home and away season yet, so I don't want to get too carried away here because we've still got 2 games of football to win this year, hopefully. But Rowan Marshall, Charlie Curnow, James Warple. Wild. I love it. Shadu, yes, but also I hate the Lions. Okay, that's a fair point. Jackie says, Paul, Shadu wants the Lions to die. Have you not seen previous posts? Oh, possibly, sorry. There's a lot that goes on in the Discord that I miss because a lot of it goes on during my working hours. And then every night there's kind of something on these days, whether it's games work or footy work or school work or somewhere along the way I have to try and be a good husband and dad too. Die Brisbane. Killed him, fucking. I hate the pie. Oh, I hate. There we go. Why did I lose picture for a second? Wild. Thomas says, I hate the Pies. They are all shit. Ask Corey, fucking lose it. Go get. You're a loose cannon, mate. Oh, cocky. But, okay, right. That was... I froze. Oh, no. It's like... Stream broke. Bad sign. I'll tell you what's a bad sign. And I'm rewinding you all the way back to 2008. I can't remember if I've discussed this on stream in the past. So 2008, Geelong membership on my lanyard. I broke it twice over the course of the year. Do you want to know when it happened? Before the Pies game. If you recall, we just suddenly lost by 100 points out of nowhere. But it was still usable. No worries. It snapped in half. I just taped it all back together. It also broke before the grand final. The only 2 games we lost for the year, my membership took damage in those weeks. Now, I didn't have... and it was actually unusable, my Geelong membership, when it broke the second time. I can't even remember how it happened. But it got broken. Couldn't use it. Thankfully, didn't need to add the MCC membership to get me into the grand final. Problem is, we lost. So, YouTube ads. Oh, sorry, Jackie. YouTube ads are a killer. And it probably just cut through my little story there. I believe there's a way that we can, and I don't know if through StreamYard, I don't think I have the ability, but I think there's a way that I can push the ads, which if there's a way to do that, that would stop the random drop of ads, I think. And so what I might investigate in the off season is how some YouTubers do that, because if that's the case and I can control when the ads drop, I can make sure that I pause and allow for the ads to play. Obviously, that's different when it's pre-recorded videos, but that's okay. You're not missing any content. There's an extra 17 cents, though, says Go Time AFL. Yes. Yeah, when it comes to live streams, I think there's a way that you can actually push the ad to the viewers. Because there's a group that I really enjoy, Last Stand Media, and you hear them if the chat's kind of fucking around and being dickheads, they're like, throw them an ad, and they say boom and just drop the ad on them straight away. So there's got to be a way. There's got to be. I don't know how to do that. Ben, if you're watching, investigate. How do we push ads during this? Because if there's a way to do that, then that probably means we don't have the random ones just popping up like they do and completely derailing when I had no idea that there was an ad playing while I was trying to tell my little story or whatever it is. So, Shadu says when you go live, the ad starts straight away. Yeah, I try to make sure whenever I fire up the stream, I'll leave my boom Paul James Show logo up on the big screen, and then leave it running for about 20 seconds or so, just to allow any potential ads to play out before I then start talking. But yeah, anyway. Go Time says, I get ads placed on my vids, but one day I'll get monetized. What is it, like 1,000 subs and then a certain number of watch hours or something, or one or the other? Tom says, can I buy the Hoops Crew? No. Jackie says, Amy, I pay so many other Patreons, to many other Patreon subs, etc., rather than paying your YouTube directly. So yeah, leave me to look. I assume the thank you for that's in reference to what I was talking about. So leave me to look into that. I'm going to kind of put it on the agenda for Ben, and we can kind of explore it a little bit. Because if I know that the ad's coming, or that we like, okay, it's been 30 minutes, we should probably drop an ad. Then I can do that, but I'll pause just out of common courtesy. Now, if anyone's using an ad blocker, you'll then see me going and probably flicking and using my phone for a few minutes, for 30 seconds or so. But I guess the some basic respect that I can show is, if we're going to drop the ad, then I can at least shut up. It's like when we drop a Cyril Cook one, that I can just go, well, I know that no one is going to, like, I'm pausing for that. It's a pre-cooked thing. I've determined that, boom,
the Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored.
Thanks, Jake. So we'll see. Thomas, the new Hoops Crew CEO, not the way he was carrying on like a pork chop before. Amy says, Jackie, it's more because all four of us use it daily, so it was worth it for us to have no ads. We also get free YouTube music in that as well. Oh, hang on, is this like a YouTube? What's the YouTube subscription called? I've forgotten what they've called it. YouTube Premium. Thank you, Romy. YouTube now makes the video freeze if you're using an ad blocker or even using Firefox and not Chrome. Oh, interesting. Had no idea. Flash says, if we win the flag, we all got to buy a bunch of flowers from Cyril Cook. 100%. Give them to all the loved ones who've indulged and tolerated you while you've been super consumed by the football, by getting them some wonderful flowers from our sponsor, Cyril Cook Florist.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook.
Oh, I keep doing it to you. We've already had the ad drop, and we all know Cyril Cook here. You're all amazing. So Jackie's dropped the flowers. Do you guys notice any changes in your viewership on YouTube since the changes everyone's talking about? So there was a huge So what we noticed through probably the mid-season through to the end, and things have changed significantly since we've gotten to finals. And I think that's the algorithm. I think that's the demand and those sort of things. But absolutely, like, our numbers dropped. Viewers dropped. Watch time didn't really, because if you choose to watch, you're committed. Like, you're all. It's the likes of you guys who are part of the community and really really immerse yourself in what we do. But aside from that, yeah, there was a pretty substantial drop off to income, to views, to everything, and that's now really starting to turn at the moment. One of the big videos that really clicked for us as the momentum started to shift was, and I'll double check just to make sure I'm not forgetting one. The Alex Davies video that I put out has gotten more clicks, more views than the Charlie Curnow to the Cats video. that was probably the first one that I noticed. Like, oh, okay, here we go. There's something going on. The reactions had been tracking at about 1,000 or more. They'd been halved at that point, but things were starting to trend upwards. But the one that really, like, the moment for me that I was like, oh, hang on, like, something's changed. Algorithm's playing ball again, whatever it was. When I put the outrage video up about Geelong not having a final at GMHBA, then the reaction picked up the very next day. The Chaps numbers were trending up. The reaction videos continued to go up. Some of the nuffs really popped up. Predictions videos for finals, and finals come along at a really good time as well. That helped pretty substantially there. But something changed on the YouTube back end. I haven't really read up on exactly what they were doing. And now we're in finals and people are just clicking on everything. It's been great. We're also learning too about, like, when is the optimal time to drop videos for people. When are most people most likely going to be looking at their phone or having a lunch break, or kids are in bed, or whatever it happens to be, to try and work out when's the right time for a stream, when's the right time to post a video. Because when we posted, like, that Zach Merritt video that I organized for this morning, that didn't get much bite initially. Now it's tracking quite well, but it started off awfully. In fact, so, like, for a bit of context, so we went live. It went live at 8 a.m. We had 30. Must have been maybe a minute or two before. But anyway, we had 34 people, 39, 30, 42, 42, and then boom, 88 from midday. And we're noticing a little bit of a pattern lately that, like, some of those midday, like those lunchtime-ish drops, people seem to be available and more willing to check out the videos at that time. Now, thankfully, this one popped at that point, and then things have been in a really good place since. Of course, dropping off now as the day gets longer. But there's little things that we kind of learn about when is the best time to capture the interest of, or capture the interest of new people, but also be accessible to all of you who are already checking out our stuff. Where are we? Roaming says we're really popping off at the moment. Look, I'm trying to make sure it's finals time. I'm trying to make sure that I engage in a lot of conversations. This was a big, like, as a channel, we exploded at this time last year. I put out that video for about Bailey Smith coming to the Cats, and it was explosive, like really, really fast, massive numbers. And then the Petrarca one followed, and the Clayton Oliver one followed, and other players that we did actually go chasing, they all followed, and all of a sudden there was just a whole lot of engagement on everything from post game live to the Chaps to any of my other breakout videos to the Paul James show wasn't a thing then. That Baz Lenka video was a huge moment for us in terms of engagement, people actually clicking on our stuff. Our subscriber numbers went through the roof. That's when we kind of started pushing towards 2,000. Like, we really started going, oh shit, this might actually be a thing. We didn't get there, but we obviously got there earlier this season. It was huge. And the thing for me, obviously there's finances, there's views, there's wanting to grow the platform and that sort of thing. But one of the things that, and we're getting close to the end of our time tonight. I did say kind of an hour, and so we're getting kind of close to the end here. But one of the things that I've loved, like, more than any other about what we've been doing here, is that we've met all of you, either face to face in a lot of cases, an increasingly large number of cases, but also through the Discord or through the live chat or whatever it is, and, like, it feels like I've just made a whole bunch of new friends, and it's been awesome. It's been really amazing to get to learn a lot about all of you over the course of the last year, running the Paul James show, and popping in for post game live, and now that we've got the Discord going up. It's been awesome. And so, as I said before, the kind of beginning of the stream, there won't be much footy to talk about once the season is over. There will obviously be the women's game that we can kind of talk about, but there won't be a huge amount of footy once the season's over, once trade period is done. And I want, like, obviously everyone knows that I do lots of video game stuff. Well, I want to get just some video game streams going, and I'll play a game and I'll chat with the chat and, try and pull some of you in post game live style, and we can just talk at the same time. So, because I really enjoy the dialogue. I enjoy getting to know you and getting to chat to you and whatever. Some of you I know aren't, like, Gary, for example, makes it really clear that he has no interest in video games. He doesn't have to, but we'll make sure we keep talking about footy at the same time. And I want to have that dialogue going because it's been a lot of fun. Roaming joined the channel round 2 this year. So we've had new faces over the course of the year, and Roaming's been one of our best trolls ever since, dunking on Ben week in, week out. I'm curious, Roaming, while you're here, how did you come to find us? given the timing. It's an interesting timing. So what else have we got here in the meantime? Where are we? Shadu says, I think it's been longer than that. Bunch of streamers and stuff talking about YouTube not getting the same views. Yeah, it's been a few months now, at least. Carlton supporters, have you blocked post the Sam Walsh video? Let's just see how that eventuates. Jackie says, I thought there was even a newer change, but time is a blur. Romy says, I put out a no finals at GMHBA and I got 1.1 thousand views, most popular video of all time for you. Very good to hear. Maybe follow GFC social media drops as well. Shadu says, make it close to their scheduled content and maybe people will get the notification. Watch that and then be recommended yours. Could be a bit of that too. Jared Fox says, do you know when roughly the tarnished edition of Elden Ring comes out? I want more Elden Ring content, but don't really enjoy Night Rain, mostly because I'm not used to the character and movement. I'm not an Elden Ring guy. I'm not a Soulsborne guy. I don't hate myself. Sorry, mate. I don't hate myself enough to kind of beat my head against a wall to get through the Elden Ring or Dark Souls, the Soulsborne kind of wall. That said, I don't know. Are you talking about like the Switch 2 version? Because wouldn't the tarnished version be out otherwise? I don't know. Sorry, that's my ignorance speaking. What I will also say, Jared, and we've obviously met at the footy, but I've realized recently, because I was just kind of clicking around on the Discord and seeing who was there, and I realized that we have a mutual friend. And our mutual friend was the best man at my wedding, Mr. Damien Camilleri. You and I share him as a friend, Jared, I believe. Can you confirm this one? And I'm curious to know how you know him. Roaming says, I saw your live stream after searching up Geelong, and then I've been a Ben hater since. Jezzelenko's popped in saying, hi. Jezzelenko, we're about to wrap this one up. Jackie says, considering there are so many toxic places online, it's good to have some positive places like this available for people. Oh, he was a teacher of yours from school. Right. Very cool. Yeah, Damo was the best man at my wedding. And I saw that you two are mutual somehow. I was like, oh. Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, we started about a bit before 9:30, and I've had a basketball grand final. I'm still in my losing basketball gear. Lost a grand final, unfortunately, but we got into it. Now I'm starting to get real cold. All right. Sorry, mate, but feel free to go check it out. It was a very impromptu thing at the end of the day well, not an impromptu thing. I owed everyone, but I don't want to do it too late. There'll be so many more streams in the off season. I absolutely just burn it, Jackie. I'm just going to burn this shit. Get it, throw it in the bin, and then light the bin. Yeah, we'll look to wrap this one up in a sec, but shit happens. Sorry about it. Thanks, Jezza. We'll go again next season. Like I said, we were the underdog and we lost, so I'm hoping that's exactly what happens to Hawthorn. The underdog goes on to lose. If I can be some sort of mirror for Hawthorn in the next 48 hours, I'll be more than okay with that. Flash says, I've just read Nigel Lappin is being headhunted by a few clubs, including Carlton, Melbourne, and Tassie. Do you think he'll stay with us? Well, I heard that he was linked to Tassie, that Nathan Buckley was going to try and get him to come down there. But now that the Tassie the Tassie situation has become a real problem, that might help us retain him. As for the other clubs, no, I hadn't heard that. But of course, Stephen King, former Geelong assistant, he might try and bring him with him somehow. There's some merit to that. I've also heard that Matty Scarlett is potentially going to go over to the Cats go to the D's after leaving us at the end of 2021. All right. We'll wrap things up there for the night. Thank you all for having joined in this bonus stream. Thank you for the support leading up to my grand final and the support post my loss in the grand final. Again, I was the top scorer for my team. Did my bit. Probably could have done more. There was a few threes that just could have and should have dropped and didn't late in the piece. We went down by 11 points. But make sure tomorrow night to jump in and support Ben, who will be hosting the Paul James Show. It'll be the Thursday night preview episode. And of course, so much hype, so much anticipation, so much nervous energy going into this Geelong and Hawthorn matchup. Thomas, good night to Paul and my fellow Ben haters. Are you Roaming's burner account? Like maybe you're Roaming's burner account. Did better than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons never hit a 3-point in his life. That's a really good point. Sorry, but he deserves it, Shaduk. No, we love Ben, kind of. Thank you all for having jumped in tonight. Make sure to check out the Paul James Show tomorrow night, hosted by Ben. He will do a fantastic job. He's already told me who he wants his player spotlight to be. I'll give you a little hint for that one. Where did it go? He's going to do a player spotlight on a past player, Paul Chapman. That's his player spotlight for the night tomorrow night. So get some of your Chappy memories going outside of just the amazing 2009 all-important goal. Aaron, who wrote the Cats song, Ben's a sucker for AI, and I hate AI. But Ben AI'd that one. It's fun enough, but it's not my jam. Don't like that it's AI. Shadu, you're 100% correct. All right. Paul is a world-class basketball player. I mean, if I'm better than Ben Simmons, then I am, right? Look, I'm okay with how that one turned out. I hate AI, but I am okay with how the song turned out. It's a good bit of fun, and there's lots of F-bombs flying around. That keeps things spicy and interesting. Getting rid of Chappy Essendon version. All right. Oh, make sure you watch tomorrow's show. In abundance of me, not Roman. Get there and support him. He's a poor man's version of me. He needs all the support he can get. All right. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. If you've not already, like this video, subscribe to the Hoops Crew on YouTube. Check out all the content from myself, the chaps, and Ben, including the Paul James Show tomorrow night. Bonus 7 minutes. Where's the super chats for that? No. This comes off my time from the next stream. Oh, no. No. If you've enjoyed this, consider checking out the Patreon, patreon.com/thehoopscrew, where you can get early access, extended content, and exclusive content there. Costs $5 a month to get all of that, and it gets delivered directly to your email inbox. There's also a 7-day free trial to see if it's for you beforehand. You'll find me on socials, Paul James Games. That's Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram. The Hoops Crew you'll find at the Hoops Crew. And until next time, remain Geelong strong, everyone. We'll be chatting, I'm sure, post-game on Friday. Very much looking forward to doing it. Ben will be hosting post-game live, but I'm sure I'll pop in at some stage. I think I'll have my dad in the car this time, so I don't know. Maybe I'll invite my dad in. He can talk about the game with the community. How's that sound? Chat, let me know. I'll see if I can rope my dad in for a bit of a... If we win, sorry. If we lose, if we lose, he's going to be painful. And I might just save my presents for when I get home. But otherwise, if we win, see if I can get my dad in. We'll see how it goes. All right. Anyway, Goat Singer. Yeah, we'll see if I can get him on board. All right. I'll just swing my little phone dock in the car and point it at him. So I got a call from him today. All right, before we quickly wrap it up. Now you're up to 9 bonus minutes, probably 10 by the time I'm done. Him and Mum have been in the US and Alaska. They're about to start flying home earlier today. He's getting home, assuming planes all run to schedule. He's getting home at getting back into Melbourne at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. And he's going to make his way down here to Gisborne. And then I'm going to pick him up after I finish work. Early finish on the last day of term. Going to pick him up, and the dogs are losing their shit outside. Might be a dead possum out there in a minute. He's jumping straight off the plane, making his way to Gisborne. I'll pick him up after I finish work. We're driving into the footy. He is soldiering on after a 24-hour flight or thereabouts. 16, 18. I don't know. Someone tell me how long it takes to fly from America. I think he's coming over from LA. He's going to hop straight off the plane, go to the footy with me and his best mate, and then I'm going to drive him home. So we see how he goes. But he is absolutely cutting it fine. And if there's any delays, I'm going to the football solo. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's commitment to the Mighty Catters, as Shadu says. Thank you all for watching. Remain Geelong strong, and we'll talk really soon. I'll see you later.